Hey, welcome back. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about Dominion, the new Spellbreak game mode that is a 5v5 objective based. Now, before we begin, make sure you go to my website at chromasgaming.com for all my updates and articles, that things I talk about here on my YouTube channel will also be there. So let's dive into my thoughts on Dominion. So Dominion itself is an objective-based 5-on-5 game mode that requires players to hold points on the map in order to obtain more points from exiling other players or essentially killing them, right? There's a couple things that I don't like about it, of course, but let's keep going. And so first off, what I don't like about Dominion, and one of them is that there's so much damage happening from all the different skills and all the different gauntlets and everything like that. It's just too much AoE. You throw a poison cloud, it blows up in your face from using fire. You use a wind tornado, you throw toxic fire and it does more damage. And everybody can combo with everybody else's. So if someone throws a toxic sludge and they throw a fireball at you, it blows up your own sludge as well. So there's so much stuff happening. It's too much. It's just a chaos. And that goes into my second piece of this, where the next chaos piece is the minions or the NPCs that you're kind of stuck farming for better gear early on. I'm not a big fan of that setup. Why should I be focusing on farming gear when the mode is about PvP and control and point control, right? We should be focusing on strategy and trying to get those points under control and holding those points to gain the points to win the match. Instead, you're competing against everybody else to get what you need from the NPCs, praying that you get what you want from the NPCs, and it just snowballs from there. It's like, oh, I got everything I needed right off the bat. I upgraded all my gear to legendary within the first 3 minutes, and it's like there's no middle ground. It's like, oh, you're stuck farming for 5 minutes or 3 minutes, whatever it is, or you get lucky and get everything you need right off the bat. And I'm not really about that. So the next piece of this is the Boon System. To me, it's just super odd. I have to go back to base, which is normal when you're trying to think about it from like a League of Legends standpoint or trying to upgrade gear. You don't really want to sit there. But you go back to base, it fully heals you, meaning you can go back to base whenever you have a boon. So if you're at half HP or you need armor back or you have all the points control, you can just go back to base, heal up, select a boon, and come back down. Now, if you're fully upgrading, it's going to cost you losing something. It might not be worth that, but you're going to end up dying anyway because you're not full HP. So the boon system is odd. I think it's an interesting concept. I think it can be expanded on, but I don't like it right now as it is. I feel like it's too chaotic again. So going from there, again, I feel like there's a lot of talents and things that can make it a little bit easier, a little better. Talent upgrading can be a little bit different. Picking up scrolls in the midst of battle and trying to hold points, again, it's really chaotic, and I'm not a big fan of that. So now the fourth piece is that capturing points and controlling them should be really what matters, but it's capturing the points and then killing the other players to get the points on the execution for double points or triple points if you have all 3 points. Depending on if it's a 5v5, 4-on-4, or 3-on-3, or it's uneven matches, it becomes very, very difficult to even contest or win those fights when you're stuck trying to you might have 20 kills, but you only had 1 point. You only had 1 control point, so you just lost all that. Really, the points that you would have gained, you didn't get them because you only had 1 point. I'm not a big fan of that. It should be more about, okay, can you contest the points? Can you recapture the points, right? So if I control a point and I capture it again from somebody else, my team should get more points for capturing the point back. And holding a point, defending a point when it's almost captured should give you points as well. So there's a lot of mixes here that I don't enjoy so much about it. I like what they did with the mode. I enjoy the mode hands down, but I feel like it needs to be expanded on still. And things like that should be really thought about. So like, we have going back to the points, right? You have to hold the positions. So you have to hold at least 2 points to really win the game. You have to farm NPCs to get your gear up for the first couple minutes of the game. You have to gather scrolls to get your talents upgraded so that you're not completely behind when you're trying to fight or trying to upgrade your talent to your gear to legendary, or you're trying to get the extra HP or extra armor or whatever you're playing. So that's another problem. And then you're upgrading gear and armor and stuff from the boons. So there's so much, and it feels like it's a little too much, and I feel like it needs to be simplified down, making the gameplay focus around point capturing. making the gameplay focus around working together to get something on the field, not to farm it individually and steal scrolls from other players on your own team. It's like, oh, I needed that, and another teammate takes it. And it's like, oh, well, now I'm still behind because my teammate took everything. So I'm stuck waiting for another 3 minutes or so to get myself my own scrolls, my own stuff. So that to me is a big problem. So now let's go into what's right with Dominion. And the reason I'm going to go into that is Dominion itself, the game mode is what Spellbreak needed. The BR mode is great, but Dominion really was something that we needed a new fresh take on Spellbreak, because battle royales are kind of falling off. They're still being played, don't get me wrong, they're still there, but there's so many of them, and people kind of are into Apex Legends, they're into PUBG. They have already BRs that they are guaranteed playing, so making another BR that's, even though it's unique and fun, it's not bringing enough people in because they have shooters that they enjoy playing more than having to relearn something else like Spellbreak. So the new game modes are definitely something that we needed, and I, for one, am happy that they brought it to it. So one of the things, like, again, going with it is how the class mixtures. I don't have the issue where a lot of people are playing a specific one class. I see a lot of people playing different things. I've seen lightning, I've seen fire, I've seen lightning. I've seen a wind. I've seen combos with all of that. It's not one domination of type of gauntlet. Now I am only in silver, so maybe once I get the gold, or if I fight it more of a 5-stack, we might see a mixture of things like that. But honestly, it's a lot. There's a lot of mixture already in here, and yeah, there could be a little bit better balance between like how much damage wind does and how much damage the AoEs does, and the time to kill is really too high. But early game, before you hit all legendary gear, I mean, even with me having legendary gear, even without it, it just makes it a little bit, it feels smooth, if that makes any sense. So now I think the Boon System, I enjoy the Boon System. I think it's a great addition. Now I want this expanded on. I want to get rid of the teleport back, but instead of the teleporting back to base or anything, put an object into the area, into the level. Maybe it's a boss. Maybe you fight a boss. Whoever gets the last hit on the boss upgrades their skills, upgrades their talents, gives them armor, gives them defense, gives them movement speed, whatever it is. Put something else in the game that's constantly inside the game, instead of allowing people to go outside of the game and sit there in a safe position where they're upgrading gear and upgrading talents and everything else. Get rid of that. Put it inside where everybody has to fight for something, and make that the primary objective. It's an objective-based gameplay. So I like the idea of the Boon System. I like the idea of how many classes are there. I want to see more of it now. Bring out some new foundations that can really change up the gameplay. So going into a little bit more, I think the big piece of this is a lot of people are running, like I am here, is gilded. It gives you a high advantage of getting your legendary gear, and then you can just focus on armor and mana way early, versus having to really focus on getting your gear up and things like that. So what I would like to see is just start everybody off at rare level. Don't go any higher than that. Don't go below that. Just start everybody off at rare. Get rid of the concept of having to compete getting to legendary first. Instead, make it so that everybody's on a fair playing field, and it's all about controlling the map. Make it all about the map. So there's some modifications that I want. There's a lot of things I want to fix in Dominion, and that's really, but what's right about Dominion is the game mode itself, right? The game mode is what we need. Let's make it about that game mode. Let's make it about the objectives, and that's really going to change a lot of the foundation for the game. So where do I want to see it, where I want to go from here is really, I want smaller updates that have focus points. They're going to focus on gauntlet and damage increases and damage decreases, and how each gauntlet affects each other. So I want them to bring out these smaller updates in iterations that will, in a sense, allow them to do a bigger update like Chapter 2 was. They kind of just threw Chapter 2 at us with bits and pieces of changes here and there. Like, they tested out some stuff with wind, they tested out some stuff here with attack speed, but there was nothing in the notes or anything like that that really hit home for me. And I think they could really enhance upon that by just doing smaller updates individually, and focus on and getting those focus points and getting those bug fixes down. In that sense, I really suggest from another developer to, I know a company has this, but a better lifecycle development will really handle a lot of these things better. I know they're probably a small team. I don't know how many people are on their team. I don't know how many people are focused on fixing bugs and fixing this. I'm not on that piece. But a lot of the foundation comes from better development life cycles and having a focus point where you're working on certain things every from 4 to 8 weeks and doing these iterations and bringing them out. And then every 4 to 6 months, new chapters, new seasons, and things like that will have a huge impact on how you develop the game and what kind of feedback you get faster to the users, and the users don't get so annoyed with certain things like they're having today. And the game feeling so different than what it was in chapter 1 to chapter 2. So at the end of this, I just want to say thank you. It's a fun game. I think it's a blast. I think you had a lot of foundation here and in time. And if a lot of people just give a benefit of doubt, let them work, give your feedback, and don't continue to harp on that this is not working, that's not working, this is bad, that's bad. Focus on the gameplay. Just play the game if you enjoy the game. If you don't like Dominion, play Battle Royale. But have fun with it. Don't get mad about the game and its problems. Instead, just raise the concern. Let them look at it. Let them fix it. All we're going to try to suggest is instead of taking 2 months, 3 months to fix problems, take a focus point and dive into fixing those problems, and then bring out that small update, those small patches. The crashes is a big problem. Do more testing. Things like that's going to be a big thing. So again, thank you. I'm excited to see where Spellbreak goes, and we'll be here for the journey on Spellbreak. Here's the 2021 and new adventures to come. Like always, take it easy.